Several small wood carvings of human figures, including a long-haired man playing a guitar and a woman holding her pregnant belly.
I want to entrap the viewer. I want the viewer to look at my work and say, what's going on here?
Another carving of a man sitting slumped at a table. Luis Tapia, 2023 NEA National Heritage Fellow. Outdoors, a carved flamingo, a birdhouse resembling a church. La Cienega, New Mexico.
I was born in a village outside of Santa Fe.
Gray-haired Luis uses metal tongs to turn plump green chili peppers on a grill.
I loved to draw. But in the school systems, I was not allowed to do any drawing. I had to concentrate on reading and writing. So that avenue was suppressed in me for many, many, many years.
He covers cooked peppers stacked in a bowl with a colorful dish towel. He presses the towel onto the peppers.
When I was 18 years old, I got caught up with the Chicano movement, political issues that the Hispanic people were having, whether farm workers or immigrants coming into the United States.
He places the bowl on a kitchen counter.
Here I was in the street saying, Viva la raza, viva the race, and I didn't really understand my culture. So I had to re-educate myself. And in doing that, I started to find that the Santo images were our art. And so I wanted to try my hand at it, and I started doing it as a hobby. And this is the first time that I ever had art back into my world since the 8th grade.
Black and white photos of young Luis posing beside his figures.
The Santo tradition began in New Mexico probably over 300 to 400 years ago. It's a tradition of wood carving, and these pieces are Christian images.
A carving of a young woman wearing a long veil.
The Spanish market, that's where it all began for me.
Luis walks up a driveway and steps into a house.
When I entered the Spanish market, it was because of an organization that was called the Spanish Colonial Art Society. They wanted the pieces to be replicated out of the churches. And these pieces, unfortunately, were 200, 300 years old.
Crosses and plates adorn interior walls.
And my personal research is I started to find out that underneath all that muck and dirt, there was bright color. So I reintroduced that into the market. And that was one of the first steps of my downfall, so to speak, because they wanted me to age my work so it looked like the original old pieces in the church.
Walking outdoors, Luis approaches large piles of split logs. He operates a wood splitter.
Starting my life out in the Santo tradition was a very positive place to be at that particular time, but it didn't allow me the room to grow. It sort of was stifling to do the same image 20 times.
He tosses split logs atop a pile.
I identified myself as a santero for many years, but as I started to experiment with my imagery and change the pattern of thought as to a santero, I felt that it was better that I would not use that term. So I took on the term as just being a sculptor, a traditional sculptor.
A sculpture of a couple balancing a blue globe on the man's back.
This is called The Immigrants. It's not a family necessarily. It's 3 individual pieces who are immigrants, and their skin colors vary from one to the other, so they're of mixed origins. The immigration, it's how this country was built, and yet we suppress all immigrants that come here.
Beside the woman, a small child with his arms raised.
With all the political issues that we have today, I find myself dwelling more in that political world.
The pregnant woman holds a sign, "Will work for food."
I still use a lot of church-related iconography. This piece, he has the stigmata on his hands and feet, and his bandana on the top of his head is his actual crown of thorns.
The guitar player.
In some forms, he's the Christ figure doing his last song.
The immigrant woman helps hold up the globe. Streaks of blue sweat pour down the man's forehead.
Doing this style of work, it's not a job. I couldn't be without it, as I can't be without breathing.
Outdoors, a tattered fence and a car with faded green paint. A lush green landscape lit with dappled sunlight.
It grows every year. It's much more.
He sits against the wall. The sun illuminates his lined face.
At my age of 73, I believe that I'm doing the best work that I've ever done before. And I look forward to getting to 75 to see where that takes me. And I want to be the guy that keeps getting better.
In 2023, the National Endowment for the Arts presented Luis Tapia the NEA National Heritage Fellowship Award, the highest form of recognition for the folk and traditional arts by the United States government. For more information, visit arts.gov/heritage. A list of credits follows, including director Olivia Marion. This film was produced by Hypothetical in association with the National Council for the Traditional Arts, presented by the National Endowment for the Arts.